Welcome!
Welcome to the Omniverse of Nick, and part 2 to What If Ironhide was in Transformers Prime. Before we get into it, be sure to check out the Omniverse's homepage, where our channel mascot Omni will direct you to the Discord, both Google Docs, and everything else the Omniverse has to offer, along with smashing the like button, subscribing to the Omniverse of Nick, sharing the Omniverse around and turning on all Omniverse notifications, and commenting future requests and expectations in the comments section. With all that said, let's begin. We open up where we ended off last time, with Ironhide's entrance into Transformers Prime, not replacing Bulkhead and being part of the team, canonizing his entrance into Transformers Prime, and giving Team Prime a very overpowered upgrade in weaponry and stature in Team Prime. And Ironhide basically becoming, besides Optimus and Bulkhead, the strongest freaking bot 1,000-fold with add-ons to his already overpowered weaponry, and telling Team Prime, let's go snuff us some tin can cons. Megatron, meanwhile, goes to the same place, the same mountain area, where he summons the Dark Energon Terracon army, and they awaken. Ratchet gets the signal, and he tells Team Prime about it, and Ironhide says, we're all ready. Optimus says, yes, while it's true, we more than hold the edge to beat Megatron and finish the war once and for all before it has truly begun on Earth. But clearly Megatron does have a counter. So while they are more than capable of dealing with this threat, they cannot risk getting off guard and ruining the best and possibly only advantage that they possess. So go in, but go in smart. So, Ratchet with his shield, Bulkhead with his giant hammer and shotgun, Cliffjumper with his pistol and trident, RC with her dual-wield axe and machine pistol, Bumblebee with his sword and his shotgun add-on, Ironhide with his hammer, missiles added on to his guns and blasters, and Optimus with a minigun strapped to his arm and giant axe combat the Terracon army. And they utterly destroy them seconds into getting there. Like, Optimus and Ratchet fought them and actually almost had, like, true difficulty, but all of Team Prime could have washed them in mere seconds. But with the weapons that they possess thanks to Ironhide and from Ultra Magnus, this is literally just a washout. Megatron's so shocked by this, he says, this is not over yet, Prime, and he just dips out of there. Ratchet debates on the fact of Megatron getting away, but Optimus says they now possess an advantage that Megatron has no counter for. And now, knowing where they must go in the space bridge to stop Megatron, now they can finish this once and for all. And Ironhide says, are you sure that you know exactly where they're going to be and that this is truly going to stop them? I know that I backed you all into the greatest advantage, but Megatron sure seemed to know that he was still good on his end. Optimus says, Megatron has always been one that never shaked at an advantage or ability that gave him an upper hand. But we possess 10 times 20 and beyond any great advantage that Megatron could ever possess, thanks to you, old friend. And if the commander shows up, that just means that Megatron stands no chance anywhere close than he does right now, which is absolutely nothing. So, everything goes in accordance to what happens after. They don't go into the mines because there's absolutely no need. Starscream's not going to interrogate Agent Fowler because there's literally no point in time where there's going to become an instance where that needs to become a thing. And even if it did, it really wouldn't matter. Then, with Cliff and Ironhide, all of Team Prime goes to the space bridge to confront Megatron and stop him from plunging Dark Energon onto Cybertron. Megatron says, "I told you this once, Optimus. Measly men are no match for an army." And he tells his Vehicons to crush them. But oh my god, if the Terracons couldn't do anything, the Vehicons are literally like 50 times worse than that. So yeah, there's nothing to talk about there. Megatron then throws the spear and blockade of Dark Energon, but this time it's not going to even touch the bridge to get onto Cybertron's surface, because all of Team Prime destroy it and it explodes in a huge purple explosion. Megatron goes in for a fight, infuriated, but he quickly finds himself utterly overpowered and outmatched, not only because Optimus has a minigun, and it's a way more powerful minigun than his original, his OG and his super form, or, would be like around the same, his already blasters and swords, and his giant axe. Yeah, Megatron's kind of outmatched. And if the bots were there to back him up and not going to shut down the space bridge, even though it's not kind of any threat at this point, without the Dark Energon going into the space bridge, we're just going to say that they do it just to absolutely ensure that, since Megatron might have more Dark Energon. So, while Optimus and Megatron are fighting, Optimus realizes the space bridge is about to collapse, and Megatron, unconscious and not flying away this time, he is caught in not only the space bridge explosion, but even more of part of the explosion, which is kind of around the same, if not just a bit more of a explosion and damage on his part. Then Starscream says, "Megatron's spark has been extinguished. All hail Starscream." But even Starscream knows that with Cliffjumper alive and Ironhide overpowering Team Prime, the Decepticons are not only down a leader and back with him, but they're outnumbered. Even if Starscream were to plan an attack right now and try to fight Team Prime or sneak their way around with Agent Fowler or some kind of other strategy, it wouldn't really work. So, he tells Soundwave now's the time for them to truly operate at the full efficiency of sneaky and smart tactics of the Decepticon cause. And he tells Soundwave to send out a beacon and messaged coordinates for the Nemesis warship and make sure it's out in space. So, stealthily, and since they can't track the Nemesis, this means that Starscream and Soundwave can send out this beacon to other Decepticons without being detected. And with more numbers on their side, this might give them the perfect opportunity to get revenge for Megatron and to seize total control as Starscream reigns supreme as the true Decepticon leader. So, the Nemesis, all the rest of the cons wait, listen, and prepare for what is to come. Meanwhile, for the Autobots, Ratchet discusses everything with Optimus just like he did canonically, along with Optimus telling Ratchet there's no need for them to worry. Starscream and the rest of the Decepticons are nowhere close to a threat anymore. When they do strike again, they will not be any kind of threat towards us. While we shouldn't take the Decepticon threat so lightly, without Megatron, their only seemingly biggest advantage against our new cause of the Autobots, it means that the Decepticons' possibly only advantage and pointing towards our downfall on this planet and restoring our own planet is gone for them. Meanwhile, they don't even know what's going on. So, we then get to the Scraplets, but with Cliffjumper and Ironhide there, the Scraplets are no threat, and with Agent Fowler, it'd be even more a big deal. The reason I'm not going to go into big details about the Scraplets is because I have something much bigger planned for the Scraplets for the first time in a story. No, it's not a Cliffjumper strategy, and no, it's not a Skyquake strategy. You'll see in a future part. Just have to wait and see. Meanwhile, on the Nemesis, word finally spreads. Knockout and Breakdown arrive. Then Skyquake. But it's with his twin, Dreadwing. And then a ship crashes down on Earth. Starscream sees this as Arachnid and is very surprised to see her alive and around, and says to her, Megatron has hereby passed. We are reclaiming true rebirth the Decepticon cause, since Prime himself has gotten overpowered weaponry and numbers on his side, with that fearsome warrior Cliffjumper still breathing, and Ironhide. Arachnid is very surprised by this, and says, So you wish to receive my help as well as these other foot soldiers, just to get yourself in a leading role to usurp Megatron? And she says, what makes you think I shouldn't kill you right now? Just for tampering with my plans. But she says she's not going to do anything. But why should she follow him? Starscream says, because I believe there's more in it for you than meets the eye. But you would have to accept the mantle of possibly being a second in command. Arachnid says, now you're speaking my language. Meanwhile, she talks behind the backs of two who she plans to use to betray Starscream while she keeps him leading on towards being a second in command. Dreadwing and Skyquake are fiercely loyal to Megatron, and Arachnid just wants the Decepticon control for herself, and she doesn't care about the cons at all. So, with Dreadwing and Skyquake, Starscream has no idea. Soon, his time as a rebirthed leader for the first time is about to come to a very small and very short end. And Starscream then gets coordinates for the space bridge, and he finds Megatron's body and pulls out the shard of Dark Energon and puts him on the ship. Starscream says, well, looks like receiving our old leader wasn't exactly the most unexpected, but I can't exactly have my new role be slouched. But he tells the Decepticons, I am still your leader until our master is awakened again. Now, let's make ourselves not just number worthy of true Decepticon and Cybertronian power, but let's up the ante to show the Autobots they're not the only ones efficient in weaponry and power. And eventually, they find the clones, but Arachnid also finds the Immobilizer, and she enacts her plan of backstabbing Starscream and immobilizes him in place. Then he is utterly shot down and killed by Skyquake and Dreadwing. Arachnid says, "You didn't honestly think I was going to go obey someone like you, did you? I think Lord Arachnid sounds pretty good." And she pierces through Starscream's just entire spark chamber and just everything to make her point. And she says, "Let the reign of Lord Arachnid begin." And Dreadwing and Skyquake, again, are fiercely loyal to Megatron, but since she made the compelling point about Starscream to them and is, seemingly a much better leader than Starscream, it's debatable for both of them. And then it shows that they backstabbed her too whenever Soundwave puts her on the ground just in 2 seconds flat, and Dreadwing and Skyquake are right over her. So this was not only a backstab and then a double backstab because of Dreadwing and Skyquake, but a triple backstab. So it's pretty sick. Soundwave just looks down at her, showing that this was about Megatron from the start. And through voice modulation and just overall showmanship of character from Soundwave, he shows Megatron is the true successor, and he will return. But for now, Soundwave is their leader. And him being the crew chief of Megatron and showing he is trying to get Megatron back to life and that Arachnid and Starscream didn't care, it is clear no one's going to try and attack Soundwave. But he doesn't kill Arachnid. He just puts her on the ground and puts her in her place. So Arachnid is alive. Starscream, however, is not. So then Soundwave gets out his Cybertronian tentacles, and with makeshift assistance also, he himself creates 5 Soundwave clones. And through his voice for one of the first few times, he says, "Lord Soundwave, superior." And he says also, "Megatron, true superior. Autobots, inferior." And that tells the Decepticons all they need to know about their mission. And they prepare for war. This time, to end it. Agent Fowler says the Decepticons are finally gearing up to fight us again, Prime. And he tells them all about what's going on. And Optimus says, "Looks like we must prepare for a war after all." And that Soundwave is leading the charge. Looks like Starscream's reign as ruler didn't last very long. And Soundwave, with all of his clones, Dreadwing, Skyquake, Breakdown, Knockout, Arachnid, and Makeshift, all prepare to fight in a burning down city against all of the Autobots. With no Starscream, Arachnid's still around, but subject to Lord Soundwave and this army. Which side will come out on top this time? And will Megatron ever awaken? And what about Shockwave and other bots like Wheeljack and Ultra Magnus? What will happen furthering down the line of Ironhide's Transformers Prime journey? Find out next time.
Now get out!
What?
Get out! Everybody get out!